Hi guys, welcome to Twin Perspective. I'm Joe, and tonight I'm going to be continuing a series of videos that I've entitled The Films That Scared Me. Tonight I'm going to be featuring the classic from 1980, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, based on the novel by Stephen King and starring the great Jack. Full spoilers on The Shining. So the Stephen King novel was a brilliant thing, and the film Kubrick made, I guess Stephen King wasn't fond of, but the film that Kubrick made is a classic all on its own. I've never read the novel. My brother has. Pretty sure he told me he really liked it. I know later on there was a miniseries for television that was based more closely to the novel that Stephen King had a lot to do with, and it was actually filmed at the Stanley Hotel, the inspiration for King's novel, the place he stayed when he had his experience and motivated him to write the novel. So I'm not going to take anything away from that, but I'm focusing on the film, which, Stanley Kubrick is incomparable. He's one of the best, if not the best, and he created a scary movie. 1980 was a pretty strong year for film. You had Martin Scorsese doing Raging Bull, Cock Beer. You had the Oscar winner, which was Robert Redford, directing Ordinary People. You also had David Lynch directing The Elephant Man. And you had The Empire Strikes Back, which was probably my favorite film from that year. And then you had this crazy horror classic, The Shining. In my opinion, it's a psychological horror movie. I view it that way as an adult. The film was released in 1980, and I saw it probably a year or two later, so I was probably 11 or 12 when I saw it. And I probably watched it like this. I've got the thumbnail of Danny, That's how I watched the movie, like this. The tension was incredible. I didn't know anything about direction or anything like that back then. As a matter of fact, the story in itself, to me, back then, it didn't make a lot of sense. It felt like the hotel was haunted. And then eventually you're seeing these crazy ghosts. But ultimately, the dad loses it and tries to kill everybody. So at that point, I kind of thought he was possessed by a ghost. Then you get that picture at the end where he's in the picture. And you're like, okay, well, what? He's been here the whole time? Was it this guy that's possessing him now? Or is he reincarnated? Or was he a ghost altogether? Didn't matter when I was a kid to make any sense of any of it. It was just downright scary, full of tension. It was so tense. That's why I was watching it like this. I knew something was going to happen. I felt something was going to happen. And the imagery from The Shining, it's a classic. The classic image of the blood pouring out of the elevator. That classic image of those two girls down the hall. The classic image of that old woman in that room. Brilliant. The sounds, the music, exceptional. Very, very, very powerful film. Very, very good film. Not just as a horror movie, but just a film in general. And the performance by Jack Nicholson, of course. The dialogue. Shelley Duvall, it was, you felt sorry for lots of reasons. And then, of course, the little boy Danny and Scatman Crothers, who I was always fond of. Great movie, and Kubrick's direction, it's impeccable, and it's a shame that it's got to be different than the novel, because it is such a classic vision, and of course the remake more closely to the novel. I don't really remember much of it all. I think Steven Weber starred in it. The film scared me. The two girls down the hall, that image, he turns the corner on his little big wheel and sees them there. And they were scary just standing there. But then, of course, the flashes of them dead, hacked up by an axe with blood everywhere. I remember the blood coming out of the elevator was terrifying. I don't know, it wasn't like I was thinking I was going to drown in a pool of blood. It was just, maybe I'd never seen that much blood in one scene before in a movie. And once Jack lost his mind and tried to kill the mom and all that, that was tense. I never really felt at ease at the end. He's there frozen in the maze, and it just seemed like there was the kid has The Shining, and so, like I said in other videos, you open yourself up to stuff like that, and it'll never leave you. And I still, to this day, don't know whether that guy just lost his mind being isolated in that hotel, or whether something there actually got to him. And so that's, it's one of those movies where I never feel like there's an ending. It's always something that's hanging around. Maybe an evil that's just too powerful to die. It's a great, great film, and definitely scared me when I was preteen. So, now that that's out of the way, I'm going to talk about in my own personal life. I was married a decade ago, and my wife and I, for our honeymoon, decided to go to the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, the hotel that Stephen King was inspired from to do The Shining. We went again a year later for our honeymoon, for our 1 year anniversary. So we went for our honeymoon, went for the 1 year anniversary. The first time we went for our honeymoon, we stayed, we didn't stay in the hotel. There's different accommodations there, and you can stay in the classic old rooms in the hotel. But we were staying in a apartment type deal that they had many of these deluxe things built all over the property there. And I mean, this thing was excellent. Full living room, full kitchen, the bathroom, the tub was a jacuzzi, and the shower was a sauna. Big bed, big bedroom, jacuzzi on the deck in the front. It was a wonderful time. We had a great time that first time there, and even though we didn't stay in the hotel, we walked the grounds and walked in the hotel and took a lot of video footage. That first time there, though, nothing weird happened. Got a lot of pictures of orbs. But we did hear a cat when we were in our apartment, and that was weird because you couldn't hear anything from outside. And we both heard the cat. So that was probably a ghost cat. I'm going to chalk it up to a ghost cat. No big deal. But the next time we went, a year later, we stayed in the hotel. in one of those old rooms. And we had a lot to drink that night, and my wife fell asleep before me, and I knew she was asleep because she was snoring, and that's what she does when we drink. And I knew that I was awake by myself. She's laying next to me, but she's not conscious. And there was a genuine weird feeling, almost like of dread. It was as if there was someone walking around the bed, just going back and forth. That's what it felt like. And didn't hear any strange noises. They'd have been drowned out by my wife snoring anyway. But very uneasy feeling when I stayed in the hotel. And that was weird because the entire time we were there, both times, overwhelming feeling of peace, and it's a beautiful location, and I can't recommend it enough to go if it's a vacation spot option of yours. We were living in Colorado at the time, in Colorado Springs, and Estes Park is about an hour away from Denver, so no big deal for us to go twice. There's a restaurant there that had some of the best food I ever ate. The little bar there, they've got it set up to look just like the movie. And the house drink is called the Red Rum. Red Rum. Red Rum. Red Rum. So that, my little personal story connecting to The Shining. But anyway, overall, the film, great, perfect film. And a sea of great movies that year. If you guys check out my channel and you go back, you'll find a video called The Best Films of 1980. My brother and I like to break down films from each year. We talk about what our favorites were that year, and you guys should go and check that out. That's great. And also subscribe to Rosenfield 10 so you can get more of these videos as I put them out. I'm going to be reviewing some stuff here more often. TV, whatever I watch. If I can manage to get it all down, I'll come on here and talk about it. Thanks for watching this. It's Twin Perspective. The films that scared me. The Shining from 1980. I'm Joe. And I will see you in the trees. Bye.